And this is AWANI Tonight. Malaysia will end mandatory death penalty by end of next year. And how will the new UK administration look like with Liz Truss at the helm? That's coming up. Malaysia plans to abolish the mandatory death and whipping sentences by early 2023. Amendments to the laws will be tabled in Parliament next month. De facto Law Minister Datuk Sri Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar says judges will have the discretion to hand down the two sentences instead. The minister said he intends to table the proposed amendments during the Parliament meeting starting October 3rd. This will cover amendments to 33 sections under the law and involve mandatory death sentences for 11 offences. Commenting on the fate of those currently on death row, Wan Junaidi said the government was still mulling its options. He added that he would soon refer to the Attorney General's chambers to discuss the matter before seeking cabinet approval to table the amendments. A total of 1,342 inmates are on death row as of June, of which 900 were convicted for drug trafficking and the rest for murder. The Court of Appeal today dismissed former PKR's Vice President, Datuk Zuraida Kamarudin's appeal to strike out a lawsuit filed against her by the party for breaching the party bond. A three-member panel led by Justice Datuk Wazir Alam Aidin Mira in an unanimous decision said the court agreed with the High Court judge that the issue of legality and validity of the contract between Zuraida and PKR could only be determined through a full trial.
The High Court in November last year had dismissed Zuraida's application to strike out the suit filed by the party on September 28, 2020. PKR claimed that Zuraida, who is now Plantation Industries and Commodities Minister, had signed a bond binding her to pay 10 million ringgit upon her resignation from PKR, or if she joins any other political party or be an independent elected representative after winning the election on a PKR ticket. PKR, through its Secretary General, Datuk Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail, had filed the suit after Zuraida and 9 other PKR MPs defected from the party, triggering the fall of the Pakatan Harapan government.
Muda is interested in joining Pakatan Harapan. Its president, Syed Saddiq Syed Abdul Rahman, says informal negotiations on the matter have been held, with Muda also open to holding official talks with the Harapan Presidential Council. Speaking after a meeting with party leadership in Kuala Lumpur, Syed Saddiq said Muda is willing to work with friends who share similar principles of struggle. Earlier, Muda Deputy President Amira Aisha Abdul Aziz said the party will defend the Muar seat, of which Syed Saddiq is the MP in the next general election. Muda is also aiming to contest at least 15 other parliamentary seats nationwide. This includes constituencies in Sabah and Sarawak. Meanwhile, Gerakan Tanah Air GTA has handed in its application to be registered as a coalition with the Registrar of Societies ROS. Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad was named as coalition chairman. The group said it expects its application to be approved within the next 30 days without any interference from the government. Dr. Mahathir announced the establishment of GTA in early August, aimed at strengthening the Malays, especially in the economic field. The coalition comprises of 4 Malay-based parties, namely Mahathir-led Parti Pejuang, PAS-splintered group Berjasa, Ibrahim Ali's party Bumiputra Perkasa Malaysia Putra, and the National Indian Muslim Alliance Party Iman. Pejuang Secretary General Datuk Marzuki Yahya announced Dr. Mahathir as chairman, while the 4 other party presidents as deputy chairman. The coalition is also open to NGOs, academics, as well as professionals. Previously, it was reported that GTA hopes to contest 120 parliamentary seats in GE15, focusing on Malay-majority areas. A former Malaysian businessman convicted in one of the U.S. Navy's largest bribery schemes is on the run after having escaped house arrest. According to U.S. authorities, Leonard Glenn Francis, or widely known as Fat Leonard, cut off his GPS monitoring anklet on Sunday morning. Police were sent to Francis's residence after the agency monitoring his anklet reported a problem with the device.
However, they arrived to an empty home. Neighbors had reportedly seen moving trucks at the property in the days leading up to the escape. Francis, who ran a military contracting company out of Singapore, was found guilty of bribing US Navy officials for their influence in military intelligence. He pleaded guilty in 2015 to his charges, including swindling the Navy out of at least $35 million in overcharges. As a result of various health issues, he was released on medical furlough and placed on house arrest since 2018. He was due to be sentenced on September 22nd.
Chairman of the Parliamentary Special Select Committee on Health, Science and Innovation, Dr. Kelvin Yee, urges the government to restart its nationwide HPV vaccination program for secondary school girls. Statistics show over 500,000 schoolgirls have missed their HPV jabs since the start of the pandemic.
Based on the National Cancer Society of Malaysia NCSM report, there was a reduction in inoculations across almost all states from 2020 to 2022. The Kuching MP said, according to NCSM report, successful inoculations in Sarawak dropped from 30% in 2020 to 12.5% in 2022. While not a single district or zone in Kedah, Penang, Perlis, Johor and the 3 federal territories reported successful HPV inoculation programs. Dr. Yee said HPV vaccine can protect against 90% of HPV-related cancers, including cervical cancer, the 3rd most common cancer among Malaysian women.
We'll go for a quick break. Stay with us.
Sehat ialah satu cara hidup. Cara untuk minum dengan baik, makan dengan baik, dengan bahan-bahan segar dan pelbagai cara yang sehat untuk memasaknya. Bakar, kukus, masak, campur, jus. Khas untuk semua amatur dan pakar. Gaya hidup sehat yang memasak di hujung minggu, menyihatkan badan dan jiwa. Hidup sehat setiap hari bersama Panasonic.
Panasonic.
Welcome back. With UK set to begin a new era under Liz Truss as Prime Minister, how will her administration look like? Sharing his insights with us is political analyst Dr. Muhammad Rizal Yaakob.
When we look into Conservative nowadays, it's no longer like a Conservative during Margaret Thatcher or during John Major. The Conservative nowadays is more resilient. They are more towards combining the element of the liberals and the conservative policy. So no longer the party is going to further something which is rigid or pro to the middle class people, or maybe prone to the foreign policy which is rigid. So I can expect that Liz will adopt some policies that will strengthening him in the local body. For example, she will adopt tax cutting or the policy of reducing the tax. That's one thing. The other thing is going to deal with the crisis, energy crisis.
Under the leadership of Truss, Rizal believes that the UK government would seek better relations with ASEAN.
I would think that the foreign policy of the new government would be something that would be more assertive and more forward-looking. For example, in the relation with ASEAN, just last year, we can see that she visited Malaysia, Indonesia and Thailand. So she already declared that she will strengthening the relationship between this region and the UK. This is not something strange because UK position in the world in terms of economy, they will no longer position themselves into dealing with European Eurozone. Yes, the country will go further. Will go to this region, South Asia, and maybe to China, and to look to the new market or to look for the new opportunities.
Meanwhile, outgoing British Prime Minister Boris Johnson bid farewell today in his final speech at 10 Downing Street. He left shortly after to travel to Scotland, where he formally offered his resignation to Queen Elizabeth.
Through that lacquered black door, a new Prime Minister will shortly go to meet a fantastic group of public servants. The people who got Brexit done, the people who delivered the fastest vaccine rollout in Europe, and never forget, 70% of the entire population got a dose within 6 months, faster than any comparable country. That is government for you. That's this Conservative government.
The leader also expressed confidence for his successor Liz Truss, saying her government will get the people through the current energy crisis. Johnson announced his intention to step down 2 months ago following a series of scandals that plagued his administration.
In other news, Taiwan removed Malaysia and Singapore from an initial list of countries eligible for visa-free entry starting next week. This is after it announced yesterday that visitors from Malaysia, Singapore, and a number of other countries can travel to the island visa-free and stay for up to 30 days.
Japan and South Korea were also named in a larger grouping of countries whose citizens are allowed for visa-free entry to Taiwan and to stay up to 90 days. Taiwan's Bureau of Consular Affairs published an updated table on its webpage, showing temporary suspension for visa-free entry for the mentioned countries, along with Thailand, Brunei, the Philippines, Chile, Dominican Republic, Israel, Nicaragua, and Russia. Monday's announcement is part of Taiwan's effort to ease COVID-19 restrictions, as most countries around the world have opened borders and resumed pre-pandemic travel.
Thousands of South Koreans have evacuated as Typhoon Hinnamnor struck the country's south today, leaving at least 2 dead and 10 others missing. The typhoon, one of the most powerful to bear down on South Korea in decades, also left over 66,000 homes without electricity.
Hinnamnor hit the southern island of Jeju overnight before making landfall near the port city of Busan, damaging beachfront roads and shops. Authorities closed more than 600 schools nationwide, and local carriers grounded 250 domestic flights as a precaution, but service gradually resumed as the typhoon headed towards Japan. This is the second major storm to hit the country in a span of a few weeks. Last month, the capital of Seoul experienced its heaviest downpour in decades, with floods that killed at least 9 people. North Korea has also braced for damage from the typhoon, with leader Kim Jong-un presiding over a meeting on disaster prevention and releasing water from a dam near its border with the south. South Korea has repeatedly urged its neighbors to give notice before releasing water from the dam, as it would cause flooding downstream, but Pyongyang remains unresponsive.
Rescuers continue to search for hundreds still missing in parts of southwestern China after an earthquake killed at least 66. Authorities say more than 200 are still trapped and scores missing.
Local weather services warned Luding County, the epicenter of the quake, will experience rain for 3 days, potentially hampering rescue work. The quake also rocked buildings in the provincial capital of Chengdu, where millions are under strict COVID-19 lockdown. China's cabinet last night said it has dispatched a special team to lead rescue efforts. State media reported that more than 6,500 people were sent to emergency rescue. The magnitude 6.6 quake struck Sichuan province at a depth of 10 kilometers yesterday, with at least 10 aftershocks of magnitude 3 and above detected as of this morning.
Indian students from B40 households have long struggled against education inequity and discriminatory obstacles that impede chances for upward social mobility. On Consider This, we ask our guests about the impact on students. That is all we have for you on AWANI tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Soraya Mia, and we'll see you again